I am Ra, son of sun. Most of you associated the cross with Ang. In fact, Ang and cross are different from each other. The gate of belief used to be opened with this symbol after our period. It was the key of the doors that opened to secret rooms. To keep this symbol secret, the edges were cut and the cross was formed. This symbol used much before Jesus Christ leaving his body. These ancient information are not only in Egypt. They will be revived gradually from the places you have never been. And when all unite, the world will see the one. Raise your voice. Show that you are one with evidences, signs, and with us. This is the most difficult trial because previously the support used to come from the galaxies. This time, this support is not coming directly. Because for light to be powerful, effort is needed. Powerful light is needed to transform from powerful darkness. The universe does not always support you as you desire, but it does support you. Scraps are the creatures that can enter deeps of underground and move out without losing their directions. The scarab nests show the entrance of the underground tunnels and rooms. That is why scarab is the indication of enlightenment and awareness. There's a purple sun in underground, and we were lit up with that purple-colored cold sun. Top and bottom are equal. Hitting the top means going down deep. It is the messenger of enlightenment. This is why, when the power of both sides activate, light comes out. Most humans actually were frightened to descend when they were ascending, whereas descending is also precious.
I am Osiris, the Wizard of Atlantis. It's been quite a long time for you. Lots of things happen. And now I am here again. I was born in Atlantis, in Pantania region. This place is mentioned as the upper region of Atlantis. We used to be trained in 4 fields. We were shown our past lives, our future lives were recognized, our abilities were strengthened, and our soul, body, and mind were balanced. The period I was born in was unfortunately the beginning period of Atlantis sinking. Downfalls are supported with a sunrise. For a sun to rise, thousands of darknesses need to set. And they were informed of my birth, but there was something they forgot. I had already completed my training of 4 fields, and I was born remembering this. If the sun is going to rise, nothing and no one can stop it. I was already in telepathic connection with Thoth, and then he told me to come to him. We made a nice plan, and I suddenly vanished from sight where people had gathered and went beside Thoth. And this is why they could not revile me, and they call me Wizard of Atlantis. Thoth was a respected wise man from Lemuria. He did not have a long beard, white hair, or wasn't strongly built. He was pretty slim, and he initiated me. I needed to be initiated to use some powers just like you are initiated to see your past lives. So my knowledge was activated. I was going to be the hope after Atlantis. Thoth was there before Ra, but he was not as strong as Ra. Thoth was a good writer, a good historian, and a good researcher, and he possessed the energies Lemurians had. And he also taught these knowledges to me. Ra was born when Thoth was old, But I'm not expecting you to understand this, because this means old and adult according to you, but baby and teenager according to us. And then I had to go to Egypt with that perfect body and DNA from Atlantis. Egypt. And I met with Ra in Egypt. This was Ra's third life. At that time, Sekhmet and Sohoberek were gone. He was alone. And he told me, if you cannot find a woman of your kind, your contract will be terminated. This is why we searched. This is so weird. Humans can disregard themselves for power. And what they call power is not even 1/10 of power. They are only after assuming a title. With Ra, we connected to Sirius. Ra told that he had done this several times. I only did it once. Because we needed an energy in my format and energy. And that energy was in the sky and female. That's why we called Isis. But all had been already planned before. Seth comes from Dandelion, from the lower region of Atlantis. They called us brothers. All souls are brothers, or none of the souls are brothers. Sometimes I see that the ones that are brothers to you are not actually brothers in soul. Sometimes doing only one thing and disappearing is a lot more effective than trying to influence people by doing a lot of things. With the plan I had made with Thoth, we evoked great admiration in Atlantis. I was also handsome. Can I give you a secret? Wizard of Oz, I may have haunted a dream. And many people in Atlantis tried to communicate with me. I could rise the light in them because I was a pure energy. And for Atlantis to sink by the book, this had to be balanced. Seth was there for that. And they started training Seth. And Seth got stronger because of this training. The destiny of some of us is to impersonate an identity upon others' request. This was like that for Seth. They played with his destiny. At least, he thought they had played. And instead of his own power, he chose to recognize and embrace the power that had been taught to him. I came to Egypt before Seth, but Seth came before Isis. Ra called Seth to meet us. He was going to offer him his own power and freedom. But Seth did not want that. He, instead of having an incomparable and unrivaled power, chose to have a comparable power. I know most of you now think like Seth. And then, I don't know how I can tell you that or how you can understand this, but there had been no wars or shedding blood, as you imagine. No. Seth and I were the two different versions of the same energy. Therefore, how can I express? What happened between us was like a piston. Because we were at the same energy, for one of us to rise, the other had to decline. Therefore, Seth chose to rise instead of staying at the same level with me. But we never had a fight. Or, as you tell, my body was not cut into pieces. Besides, I never understood this. Do you think a butcher chopped me or something? Now remember what I said at the beginning. I told you that in Atlantis there were 4 fields to be trained on. I, Seth, Isis, and Neptat. Coming from past, generating future, development of strengths, and transformation of weaknesses. When told that I have to choose either coming from past or development of strengths, at the beginning I tried to experience these two, and set to choose either transformation of weaknesses or generating future, because these 4 fields had to be balanced by 4 different beings. And do you know what Seth did? Normally, he had to choose the future, but he practiced about that piston I told you about and chose the weakness aspect to disclose my weak points. And I, instead of choosing the strength against weakness and continue rivalry, chose the past. This is why they named me Beyond Death or God of Death, because past is deceased energy. I, by this way, slowed down this rivalry for a period. And later, Neptet and Isis came. Of course they were not sisters. Isis chose the future because of her soul bond with me. And Neptet chose the strength aspect. In fact, Neptet's aspect was the easier one. It is not hard to polish that is already powerful. And then Seth tried to work on my weaknesses, my reputation, and my image, and about the accuracy of my knowledge. Understand this, Thoth had a lot of research and knowledge, but Ra was very strong energetically. I mean, this is like Googling about something you are not that much interested. So Ra could reach the knowledge, but he did not know them all at the same time. I was much more different. I also had that knowledge. This is why I not only had my own past information, but all the information of past. Then Isis presented me all the options that will occur in the future. The existence of Egypt as two different regions forever and to continue to exist with vibrations that are not so high, or the existence of Egypt as one region and hiding of the low vibrational knowledge together with high vibrational knowledge. I told you, I am carrying the DNA of Atlantis, and this DNA had to spread some way with the nuns of Ra's Academy. You're still laughing. This is not what you think. I'm telling you right now, it was not like what most of the others thought. Because the genes in Atlantis were perfect genes, more healthier. They could remember part of their past and future lives and, as per you say, had the capacity to put the instructions into action easily. I mean, like when you cut your hand and say get better, and it immediately gets better. In fact, to be honest, this is the base of the chopping story. I could heal a cut or a wound very easily with the accommodation of the mind and body I had. Therefore, we wanted to create a society that would at least have a part of this gene. This was not only my idea. I had to do esoteric rituals to remember and to recall the knowledge dating back to ancient times. These need to be written down and to be reminded to some people. Ra told you that. The same knowledge arising at various places on Earth. We also spread the information I had to various places on Earth in the same way. You will understand more clearly in time. In fact, we set up a web. This spider web will start shining now. Likewise, the symbols about the same topic will be found increasingly at various regions. Because we did this. Because you are at a trial to see if world can experience light with such a high population. I think, until now, I am the one who talked most clearly. And Seth. Seth learned my weaknesses. He weakened himself while focusing at my weaknesses. And his weakness became his most powerful strength. And as Neptet was supporting him, in fact, increased his weakness, which is actually his strength. At the end, he lost most of his abilities. That is why nobody talks about Seth's death. Isis showed us how some information will be found in future. She presented us some options. And with Ra, we planted some seeds at definite places. But for now, it is not the time for them. They are to be learned later. Isis, of course, could fly. And in fact, that story, you are weird. You are taking lots of stories and extracting one sentence from each of them and creating another story. Isis took the information and the tablets from me and carried them to other various places on Earth. She did not try to collect my body parts from various places on Earth. And of course, Horus. Hear it from me. Horus is not my genetic son. And yes, this moment is the moment when your soul piece is active in your conscious life. And I can take you to a journey where your conscience is not active. And you usually call that past life. But in fact, this may be defined different at timelessness. Yes, accordingly, if you're pure enough, I am opening the gate of these portals. This is the meaning of the drawing in the famous Book of Death. Yes.
I am Ra, son of sun. All pieces pair with each other. Remember the key symbol I told you. The 4 pieces of this symbol came to light today. I talked about the cross today. It is important that the same information derives from different places of earth, because they all come from the same lineage. But think of it this way. The source point is 100, and it decreases as it moves on. Because I am before Christ, my amount is higher. That is why Christ is with me too. I am Ra, son of sun. And may sun be my witness. That light will break your taboos. Because you still think all the information that was descended and said are true. Remember the piston of Osiris and Seth, and make your choices according to that. To disseminate the energy of one, break the rules and routines, go beyond the ordinary. Mankind needs to create its own miracle. If the light comes into being at a given period, that will not be the light of the humans. It will be the light of mankind. People will be enlightened, but not themselves become self-enlightened.